From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the evening news blast for September 16th, 2025. Senator John Fetterman continues to act as the Democratic Party's black sheep in the U.S. Senate. U.S. Senator John Fetterman has been one of President Donald Trump's biggest boosters within the Democratic Party since taking office for a second term last January. Whether it was being the only Democrat to travel to Mar-a-Lago or supporting Trump's $200 million ballroom expansion, Fetterman has found himself standing side by side with Trump on numerous occasions, and his interview with CNN from this past weekend is the latest example. Here are 5 takeaways from Fetterman's interview with CNN. Fetterman wants Democrats to stop calling Donald Trump names. Fetterman isn't happy with members of his own party calling Trump an autocrat. If you compare Trump to an actual autocrat, that it's not just that, Fetterman said during the interview, and added that this is not an actual autocrat. This is a product of a Democratic election. Fetterman called on Democrats to turn down the temperature in the wake of conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination, but refused to call out Trump for smashing modern Democratic norms. I'm saying he's definitely different, but that's what America voted for. Again, I don't agree with many of these things, but that does not make him an autocrat, Fetterman said. And Fetterman supports Trump's use of the National Guard in Democratic cities. Fetterman pointed to Chicago's high crime rate, which is actually at its lowest since prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, to justify Trump's use of the National Guard in some of the country's largest cities. All I'm saying that it's like when 600 people are killed in Chicago, every year. I think it's entirely appropriate, Fetterman said. Okay, Senator Fetterman, we're going to stop you here, all right? On August 25th, Politico reported this news in a story from Illinois Governor Pritzker. Governor J.B. Pritzker's comments came hours after Trump, speaking to reporters at the White House, renewed his threat to make Chicago the next focus of his effort to draw public attention to crime, even as violent incidents fall back to pre-pandemic levels throughout the nation. No request for federal assistance has been made, Pritzker said, nor has any communication come from the Trump administration. No one from the White House or the executive branch has reached out to me or to the mayor, the governor said. No one has reached out to our staffs. No effort has been made to coordinate or to ask for assistance in identifying any actions that might be helpful to us. Okay, point 3. Fetterman would welcome National Guard with open arms. John Fetterman called on Democrats to welcome the National Guard into their cities with open arms. At one point during the interview, Fetterman said he would accept National Guard members being deployed to his city if it had an issue with crime. If I was a mayor and I had significant kind of violent situation, I would be happy to get help, honestly, for that, Fetterman said. Okay, John, gonna need to stop you again. Before you welcome Guard troops to Pennsylvania, you might want to hear what your own governor had to say. You see, on September 2nd, CBS reported Governor Josh Shapiro said that Pennsylvania is prepared should Trump decide to send National Guard to Philadelphia. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro said the state has been making preparations in the event that President Trump decides to send National Guard troops to Philadelphia. In his words, ever since the president made what I think is a wrong-headed decision to take the Guard away from the governor and put them on the streets of Los Angeles, we have been preparing for such a thing to happen here in Philadelphia, Shapiro said. The Pennsylvania governor, however, did not provide any more details on what those preparations are. Government shutdown? What shutdown? Point number 4. Democrats are talking about possibly shutting down the federal government at the end of the month if Republicans in Congress don't move bills that keep American health care affordable for millions of us. Fetterman, who was against shutting the government down earlier this year, is once again in support of keeping the government operating. That's not fighting. That's mutilating our nation, Fetterman said. If you vote to shut our government down, you are going to harm millions of Americans. It was wrong for the Republicans to do that. It would be just as wrong for us. You might want to check with your own party leaders, John, because PBS News reports Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer warned of a shutdown if Republicans don't accept Democrats' health care demands. Schumer said that he and House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries are united in opposing any legislation that doesn't include key health care provisions and a commitment not to roll them back. He argues that the country is in a different place than it was in March when he vigorously argued against a shutdown, and he says he believes Republicans and President Donald Trump will be held responsible if they don't negotiate a bipartisan deal. So what about New York City politics? Well, Zohran Mamdani and the future of the Democratic Party. What about it? Fetterman has been critical about Democratic New York City mayoral frontrunner Zohran Mamdani since he burst onto the public scene and the political scene earlier this year. He still thinks that Mamdani isn't the future of the party. I don't believe that. New York City is reflective of our national political things. Certainly the states are going to determine who's going to be the next president, so I don't take any kinds of lessons or anything. John? Okay, so going to stop you one more time. You see, Governor Kathy Hochul has endorsed Zohran Mamdani as the next mayor of New York City. Governor Hochul on Sunday urged New Yorkers to vote for Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City, giving the Democratic nominee one of his most significant endorsements to date in the contest to lead the nation's biggest city. Writing in the New York Times opinion section, Hochul said that while she and Mamdani diverged on some issues, they came together on the importance of addressing the affordability crisis in the city and across the state. That's a news blast at this hour. And before we go, so, Senator Fetterman, in a nutshell, you work for the people of Pennsylvania. You seem unconcerned about the health care needs of our citizens. You don't listen to your own state's governor. You have no business addressing who the future of the Democrats are because, frankly, you don't seem to have a future in the party as Pennsylvania's U.S. Senator. That's a news blast for this hour. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.